Greetings, everyone. On this last day of 2022, I really wanted to finish this year on a I wouldn't say high note, but something that will really grab your attention, especially that of men, women included, yes, but especially for men, so that they could really understand the trajectory and the direction of society, where it's headed, and to understand that in this American Western society, your rights as a father, as a husband, as a man are very, very quickly eroding away. Why do you say that? Oh, I'm glad you asked. If you have heard of the Save James Facebook page or the Save James case in Texas, which has been ongoing for, I think, 6 years, or I could be wrong. I've been following it. I've been following the Facebook page for 2 years. And it really, really, really touches my heart, really destroys me on the inside, knowing that I might be experiencing the groundwork of something similar to this. I don't want to go into my story, not too much, because I'll just go on a rant, and this video will probably be like, 30, 40 minutes long, and yeah. So I'm just going to stick to speaking about Save James. Save James, James Younger, the father of James, the 8-year-old boy. James Younger and his wife, if I remember from the top of my head, because I don't have the article in front of me. Her last name is Georgis, Georgus, I believe. Georgis. I pronounce it like George. I could be wrong. They divorced some time ago, and at that particular time, around that time, there's twin boys involved. But however, though, this one boy in particular, he liked to sing songs from Frozen, from the movie Frozen. A lot of people did. That movie was immensely popular among children and probably even among adults too. Singing the songs, knowing all of the characters. I remember, that was a buddy of mine, 15 years my junior. So that means he's 23 right now. But there's a buddy of mine I used to work, shoot hoops and do calisthenics with at the gym all the time before he moved away recently, moved out of state. And he said that he could recite the entire movie. There's a lot of people like that, who recite Lion King, blah, blah, blah. It's very immensely popular, uber popular movies. They know it word for word, line by line, throughout the entire 3-hour movie. They know every single word that's going to be said. Like, well, how'd you know that? Oh yeah, that's right. Because I fell asleep when I was watching that movie. That might be the excuse. But so he could sing the song. He probably knew the movie like the back of his hand. Knew all the characters. Probably had plush toys and action figures, maybe. Well, not action figures, because he's getting transition male to female. But the thing is, again, he's only 8 years old. And also, this case has been ongoing since he was 2. The mother, man, gotta hold my tongue. It says that in the Bible. In the book of James wrote about guarding your tongue. So I'm gonna do that. But the mother, with an asterisk, yeah, I had to throw that in there. She had the Texas judge who originally ruled in her father's case back in 2019. She had the Texas judge, a woman, Karen Cook, removed from the case because of a Facebook profile that she wrote saying that the opinions of the governor, Abbott, Representative Dan Crenshaw, Senator Ted Cruz, did not influence her decision in ruling in his son in the father's favor. And whether it did or it didn't, this is a sign of somebody, Senator Ted Cruz, Representative Dan Crenshaw, Governor Greg Abbott, and the judge, the original judge, has some sense, and the father, James Younger, have some sense in regards to protecting children. We see the movement towards sexualizing children. And yes, I will say these things because we've seen the MAP flag, which is blue, light blue for boys, light pink for girls, and white in the middle for the innocence of those children. And MAP stands for, let's get this, minor attracted persons. So they're normalizing this stuff. There's a Wiener, Senator Wiener in California, which is a state that she ran to so that she can have full autonomy, I guess that's the word. Because when she had that judge, Karen Cook, removed over this Facebook post, removed from the case, another judge came in, another woman, but a whacked out, completely loony bins woman, ruled in the favor of the mother. So now the mother has complete physical, psychological, and medical jurisdiction per se. I guess the right word is jurisdiction over those two boys. And when she went out to California so she could get that done, couldn't get it done in Texas, but she went out to get that surgery, yeah, in Dr. Evil quotes, completed for the boy. But what would this do? What they aren't doing, like in the Matt Walsh video, documentary, What is a Woman? The man who transitioned to a woman is on the record for saying that all of the chemicals and just everything, the surgery, the chemicals, and all that jazz, it knocked off about 30 years of his life. What does it do? It's the same chemicals used for prisoners on death row to keep them from producing. It castrate them. Yeah, cows. Animal livestock are castrated, right? It stunts the growth. Immediately actually stops the growth, the reproductive growth of that child. James is 8 years old. Cannot produce testes, but also he doesn't cannot produce sperm. But also, wait a minute, being transitioned, but yeah, he doesn't have ovaries, so he can't have children regardless. Becomes a full on man, a capable man, or a woman, capable of being a mother, the man, capable emotionally, mentally, physically, all this stuff, financially, of being a father. But wait, there's more. This case, when she fled to California and she has full autonomy over their medical, psychological, and jurisdiction over that, autonomy over that as their mother, and she has full rights. The father doesn't have any rights, zero rights. Donut. He still has to pay the counselor. He has to pay He has to pay $5,000 for the retainer, and then $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month. I will link this in the bottom, the CBN article and a few other articles, which all say basically the same thing. As long as they're not twisted. I'm not posting anything from the Washington Post and Huffington Post, all those liberal sites, but those progressive sites. But from CBN and a few other sites, articles, $5,000 retainer. That's nothing new. I've been there, done that. But $2,000. I said I'm not going to say my story, but in $2,000 a month for counseling. Dr. Evil quotes again. And also on top of this, he has zero say. Donut. No, right. Donut. Zero say to the counselor about what's going on. His own views about what's going on. Why? Because she's in California. He's paying for this wacky counselor. He's paying for this wacky transition surgery, which is false, biologically impossible. A boy cannot transition to a girl, man to a woman, blah, 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 vice versa. It's biologically impossible because I will not magically grow a woman's reproductive organs. No. So stop it. We are not real women. I cannot become a real woman. And a woman cannot become a real man. Okay. So, and the DNA says that you cannot argue against DNA. You cannot argue against biology. You cannot argue against true science. Even though President Houseplant had a male to female Dylan Mulvaney invited to the White House to talk about whatever, it doesn't matter, I'm not interested. And then also had a drag queen, a man who also likes to be characterized, a flat out caricature of what a true woman is. Had a drag queen on also invited to the White House to oversee the signing of the bill of making the Marriage Equality Act, I believe. Yeah, that's what it was. Even though like people have been married, the interracial marriage, which there's only one race, but for the sake of this video, interracial marriage has been going on since the 1960s, I believe. Since Alabama was the last state to lift that, and so why'd you bring a drag queen for this? And why did you tell Dylan Mulvaney, oh, God bless you, or some stuff? And also, there was another video I saw. Officer Tatum presented this. I know this is getting long, but Officer Tatum presented a video of a man, a film boy, a film man, look like he's around early 20s or something, and also making a mockery of actual cis women, claiming that he's having cramps and is all on the bed and squirming around and why in his deep voice, why is this happening to me? Whoa, if anybody says welcome to womanhood, woe is me. What? You're faking cramps. You're faking a real life situation that a woman goes through once a month after puberty, in between puberty and menopause. Once a month, every month. I guess that's how I had the frequency of it. I don't know, because I'm not a real woman, so I wouldn't know all these things. But back to Save James. Again, this is heartbreaking because you see the steps, the progression since the boy was 2, now that he's 8, and what's going on. And as a father, you ask yourself, if this is happening to him in a red state, Texas, what hope do I have to procreate, to have a family? Like a homeboy I was working with last night at this event prep place, he has 7 children, 5 boys, 2 girls. What are my hopes of having a family, having 1 or 2 or 3, having a whole basketball team like him? 5, the starting 5 and the 6 man, the Fab 5 and the 6 man coming off the bench. Yeah, James Harden coming off the bench. Jamal Crawford coming off the bench. Shout out to my Hawks fans and Clippers fans. So, what are my hopes of doing this with Western society, with American, and also going on in Canada as well? Of me pulling this off successfully with a conservative, traditional, TradCon woman, biblically heavenly mindset. She respects, loves, appreciates me and what I'm doing for the family as a father, as her husband, and we're together. There will be arguments. There will be arguments, but we're together, honoring our marriage vows, all the way until I kick the bucket. Somebody kicks the bucket, and then we move on in life. We transition into life, into the next phase of life. What are the hopes that I have for this? I mean, the Bible, Ephesians chapter 5, the latter part of that chapter, it speaks about about family and the importance of family and how in the family structure. It's Messiah, it's Yahusha, father, mother, children. That's the structure, but it's been flipped on its head. Sometimes the children on top, but mostly the mother is on top, and government has taken the place of the father, and government has taken the place of God, of Savior, Master, living out the government, but also kind of like cheating on the government because you're still dipping from the husband's pockets, the father, biological father's pockets, in James' case, in James Younger's case, in making him have to pay while keeping a muzzle on his mouth. I want a Proverbs 31 woman, but in this day and age, yeah, the possibility of that is a needle in a haystack. So, and I just don't have the patience. I don't have the energy to go searching for that needle in this giant Texas-sized haystack. I would say go your own way, fellas. I would say if you really still do want to be our legacy, want to spread your legacy, want to start a family, go overseas, where women are still feminine. East Asia, Southeast Asia. I have my favorite countries. I have my targeted destinations. Maybe Eastern Europe, possibly Africa, but it's slim because progressivism, liberalism, this Looney Tunes society is a plague, and it's spreading. You think about the movie, the last scene of the movie, I think it was 28 Days Later, where a pilot, if I can remember, there was a pilot and he was coughing. Like I have been all throughout this video. He was coughing, but he was coughing up blood. Took out, it was red. Yeah. Got on a plane and flew to Paris or somewhere in Europe. And from Paris, more red lines because of the tracking the flights of planes. And you're tracking the flights of planes, you're tracking the flights of the viruses. The virus spreading. A red line to Beijing, a red line to Moscow, a red line to Rio de Janeiro, a red line to Johannesburg, South Africa, a red line goes to Buenos Aires, a red line going to New York City, a red line to Sydney, Australia. Red lines tracking the path, the plight of this virus. It's like the same thing with this plague of progressivism, and man, I get it with third wave of feminism. First, second wave was understandable. Third wave of feminism was just completely bonkers. Welcome to bizarre world, where politicians and the anti-family courts are completely bending over backwards, giving 100% power to these mothers that are off their rockers because they're not being evaluated. like, oh, you talk about gun rights and we should be evaluating the people who potential gun owners. So what about these? Yeah, I go that far. I dig down a rabbit trail. They're not being evaluated, but yet they're given complete autonomy over over someone else's body growing inside of them, and over the bodies of their children, which are growing up in their households, and yet still the court gives them access, complete access, to rob the father blind of his resources that he's worked his entire adulthood, 20, 30 years, 40 years. His adulthood, got his pension, everything's good. Nope. Everything. The judge just ruled in her favor. Now you owe $300,000 a month in child support. Like in Kanye West's case, $200K a month or 20 or 30K a month. Like with Tyrese or you got to give up your championship belts because why? Like in Sugar Ray Leonard's case. Or because of the Bradley Amendment. I think the Bradley Amendment is now child support cannot be lowered, but you owe so much money that you got to flee the country or else you're going to be put in jail for life, like in the case of comedian Dave Foley. I got some cases. I know some stuff. Yeah, I've been doing my research. so don't come at me. Oh man, this is sad. Save James. Follow the page on Facebook if it's still active. I'm gonna go ahead and look right after I upload this video and edit it. Follow that page on Facebook. Get yourself involved. Donate if you can. Do something. But also in regards to this video and the message and the articles that I'm gonna post in the description box, is get the word out that. And no, this ain't a doom and gloom video. You know, it's really low energy. I have no energy for this. This isn't doom and gloom. Not intended to be. Intended to be hope. Not a hope for your legacy, because that's kind of like falling by the wayside. But this is hope in Messiah, because as much as society is crumbling around us, men, fathers, and husbands, boys, as much as we sit in our chairs and watch society burn, we know that there still will be a true utopia, per se, the new heaven and the new earth, the new Jerusalem, when at the second coming of our great Messiah and Elohim, the King of Kings, Adonai, Yahusha HaMashiach. I look forward to him, because as I look around, it's looking bleak. Yeah. Until next time.